Good morning. It's Friday. We've made it through another week. I was reading some scripture this morning that really just kind of got me thinking, and it's from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 18, I believe. But basically, it just goes into, sometimes it feels like things are falling apart. Sometimes it feels like maybe you're not making any progress. Sometimes maybe it even feels like things are moving backwards, and you wonder, what is God up to? There's a quote in the verse that says, not everything seems to be apparent to the eye. There's more going on behind the scenes. That's so true. And I think sometimes, I know, at least in my life, I can get so wrapped up in problems, so wrapped up in life itself, that it takes my focus off of what God is doing in my life. And God's doing a lot of things. In fact, that's a lot of times the reason for whatever it is that we go through, is because God is molding us and shaping us into who He wants us to be. So there's always more that might meet the eye, right? Even when we're maybe experiencing other people's success in business or relationships or whatever else, we may not see what all went on behind the scenes and how God had to work in their life to help them be able to get to where they're at. There's always more that meets the eye. So my challenge to myself today, and to you, is stay focused on God, your relationship with God. Stay focused on whatever process He's taking you through right now, that knowing that you can trust it. And there's more that meets the eye. The other very encouraging part of that verse is there's wonderful things in store for us when we are obedient to Him, when we do trust the process and trust what He's taking us through. There's a beautiful side to the other, to point B. So if you're stuck on point A and you're trying to get to point B in your life, just know that God is watching over and protecting, and that we may have to go through some stuff in order to get to point B. It's just like the Israelites coming out of Egypt, being held in bondage. We oftentimes are held in bondage to things, right? They were freed from the bondage, but then it still took them a long, winding journey over 40 years to get to where God wanted to take them. Same thing is with us. There's a lot that we can't see that God is doing. Trust Him. Hope you have a good weekend. Bye.